What's going on, everybody? Marcus here, back again with a quick video on the Protection Warrior. I first wanted to start off on how it actually changed. Look at the Protection Warrior. At Miss Pandaria, towards the end, it had over 3 dozen abilities that you could use at any one point in time. That's including things like Hearthstones and on-use trinkets. But it was quite a few cooldowns. Rallying Cry, Last Stand, Demoralizing Banner, Mocking Banner, Demoralizing Banner, Skull Banner, just endless amounts of abilities that I all had to keybind at some point in time. Luckily, I use a Razor Tartarus, and a Razor Naga, which enabled me to keybind quite a few abilities, but it was just way too many. Now we get to Warlords of Draenor, and as you can see, Warlords of Draenor's Protection Warrior was a lot different. Sliced the abilities about 1/3, down to 27 buttons here, as you can see, as opposed to 36. This is also including, your Hearthstones and any on-use trinkets, and also depending upon how you talented, but still quite a few that needed to be handled. It was still a little clunky, but a lot less cooldowns. Now we get to the Legion Protection Warrior, and as you can see here, we're down to 20 buttons, and it's a lot easier. It's a lot smoother. The Protection Warrior has really embraced the fantasy of the class, of what it means to be a warrior or a gladiator going into battle. They've gotten rid of Shield Barrier, and they've replaced it with Ignore Pain. And Ignore Pain is a rage. It's a heavy rage cost. Costs 60 rage, but it allows you to ignore up to 90% of your armor, and if talented, can ignore up to 100% of damage taken. Shield Block works a lot differently. It costs less rage and is more of just deflecting melee attacks, while you need to use Ignore Pain for those really heavy-hitting boss attacks that may happen. I'm doing Nithundra on the Legion Beta in LFR on this one. Just killing some ads real quick here. But wanted to comment on the flow of the warrior and what's really changed and how Pruning has changed this warrior. You've still got your base abilities, Shield Slam, Revenge, and Devastate. But you've also got this ability called Focused Rage, which you want to time correctly. What that does is it ups the damage of your Shield Slam, stacking up to 3 times, costs about 30 rage. This is a great ability to use if you are not tanking the boss at the time, or if you're tanking a bunch of ads and you want to hit them really, really hard. You've also got Neltharion's Fury, which is your artifact weapon ability, and that ability looks really, really cool. It's on a 1-minute cooldown. The way the talents work on the Protection Warrior, which I won't get into, it really changes the playstyle. Some of them heavy a more haste build where you're tanking ads. Some of them favor a more shield slam, like with heavy repercussions. Some of them are more cooldown based, like anger management, which has returned. But the overall feel of the Protection Warrior hasn't changed much. It's just been refined towards the fantasy of the class. Now here we're about to start the boss fight, and unfortunately the tank I was tanking with here in LFR, he was kind of an aggro Nazi. He wouldn't let me get much aggro, so he pulls aggro. So what I do here is I'm just testing it out, seeing how quickly I can build my rage, which isn't that bad. Use Battle Cry to up your critical strike here, and I'm spamming Neltharion's Fury at the moment. But the overall feel of the warrior is when you need to take big damage, you've got that Ignore Pain. It feels great. You still got the iconic abilities like Shield Block and Shield Slam. They've changed the way how you reduce magical damage now with Spell Reflection. You pop Spell Reflection and you reduce all magical damage taken by 25% and reduces the chance of magical spells hitting you by 30%, which is amazing on certain boss fights. That's where the warrior was always weak. It was always weak when it came to taking magical damage. Now you have 2 methods in order to mitigate that. You have Ignore Pain, which is the next big hit you take, which could be magical or physical, and then you've got Spell Reflection. You still have Shield Wall, you still have Last Stand, you don't have Enraged Regeneration anymore, and you don't have Vigilance anymore. But the Pruning has really, really taken the Prot Warrior into a more focused spec. as with a lot of the other classes, you're no longer looking for all these different abilities to go to. You're looking to maximize the potential of the abilities that you do have, and that's where Focused Rage comes into play, and that's where Ignore Pain comes into play, because you have to play with your rage. You know, rage is something you're going to have to pay attention to and how you use it. I think in Warlords of Miss Pandaria, rage was pretty much handed out like candy. You didn't really have to worry about how you spent rage. You didn't have too many consequences with it unless you needed a barrier up right then and there. With this one, you've got a few tools, but they all interact with each other, and you have to be smart about how you do it. I think the Protection Warrior looks great for Legion. I had a lot of fun tanking this boss, even though I didn't get much aggro. I had to taunt off him a few times. As you see, I think I'm about to taunt off him really quick, if I can even get threat off this guy. But I actually did third in damage. I did 116k on this fight. But overall, I like the Protection Warrior. I think the pruning is a good thing for this game. I don't want to get too far deep into Stop the Prune, but I think for the Protection Warrior particularly, it's really made it much more enjoyable of a class. There's less going on and more of how are you spending your rage and how are you planning your attacks, as opposed to just spamming Devastate, waiting for your shield slams, waiting for your rage, and just having block up, which block was pretty easy to keep up in both Warlords and Miss Pandaria. And now it's easy to get up, and now you have to worry about how you're going to spend the rest of your rage, whether you're going to spend it on Ignore Pain or Focused Rage or Spell Reflection. So happy with the Protection Warrior. I think it's going to be a good solid tank in Legion. I don't think it's going to be the best tank, looking at how the abilities are panning out. And I don't think it's going to be the most enjoyable tank. I think the Vengeance Demon Hunter, which I will do a video on here soon, I think the Vengeance Demon Hunter is much more enjoyable of a class than the Protection Warrior. But yeah, Protection Warrior looks great. And if you like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe.